Hi friends, I'm back again with you talking about Corona. अब इस वक्त I'll be talking something different. So far we saw what were the provisions of lockdown that we are undergoing. Now I'll tell you what is its effect on the economy. Now there is a debate going on in this world, like we're doing lockdown to flatten the curve. You all understand flatten the curve? So that there are not very many infections in a shorter period of time. So curve becomes a little flat. But when we are doing the lockdown, we are also making sure that most of the businesses are closing. Most of the manufacturing units are closing. The term which we are using is social distancing. So wherever there is a mass occupation of people, we are trying to close down that particular facility. And that has also led to an exodus. The migrant workers are wanting to go back home. That means our production facilities are going to close down. So the argument is that as long as we're trying to flatten the curve by lockdown, that is okay. But we are also flattening our economy. The share market has fallen very badly. But so far, the share market has fallen because of sentimental reasons. As you know, the markets are driven by sentiments. But markets are also driven by the fundamentals. So far, not much of a damage has happened to the fundamentals. Our supply chains are intact, and government is trying its level best to make sure that. But at the same time, you see what's happening in America. America today is the epicenter after Wuhan has recovered. The epicenter of Corona is New York, and there is no lockdown in New York. The argument given by the Americans for not having a lockdown in New York is that they're trying to protect the economy. Now, if you're trying to protect the economy, you will have to make sure that you abide by the tenets of social justice very strictly. All people are very, very responsible. Now, this is a dichotomy. How to go about it? And it's really difficult to find answers. I'll give you an example. It's some kind of a legal sort of a fraternity question, which will explain to you that there are issues, there are times in this world when you cannot take decisions because both the arguments are right. Like they say, in Greece, there used to be a guy called Protagoras. He was a lawyer. And one day, one gentleman, a small young boy, walks up to Protagoras and he tells him, Sir, why don't you teach me law? I want to become a lawyer and you will be my guru. So when you will become my guru, but unfortunately I'm a poor chap, I will not be able to pay you the money immediately, your fees immediately. I will pay you the fees only once I win my first case. So the narrative was that the pupil will pay its guru the fee only once he wins the first case in the court. Okay, fine. So Protagoras trained that chap. He became a good lawyer. Now, 1 year passed, 2 years passed. That chap never came back to pay him. So Protagoras approached him. He said, look, you haven't paid me the fees as yet. He said, sir, as per our contract, the requirement was that I will pay you only once I win my first case. So far, I have not won my first case at all. So I'm not able to pay. But Protagoras wasn't happy. He was annoyed. So he filed a case against him for not paying him his dues. Now, after the case was filed, the Protagoras thought, in case I win the case, I will get my dues. And if in case this guy wins the case and I lose it, then he would have had won his first case. So he is liable to pay my dues. So in both the eventualities, my dues will be paid. Now let's see, what is the pupil thinking? Pupil says, in case I win the case, then I don't have to pay him. In case I lose the case, I still do not have to pay him because I haven't won a case at all. So he is also right on one side and this guy is also right on one side. So this is the dichotomy which the world at majority of the places is facing, whether to go for a complete lockdown, harming the economy later, that is putting the economy on the ventilator later, or keep looking after the economy and risk a massive infections spreading amongst much bigger populace. So nobody has the answers, even we don't have the answers, but point is, Americans in New York are facing one model, we are facing one model in India, and I'm happy that our Prime Minister has done it very, very strictly. All district boundaries, all state boundaries have been sealed, all forms of transport has been suspended, so there's no way to move, and I request my fellow citizens, to all of you, to please make sure that who are stranded, who are migrant workers in your urban centers, make sure they are looked after. I would say that each family feeds at least 3 more families outside of lower state of society who are daily wagers, daily earners, who do not have money. If you cannot do that, at least tell them where to go. They should not sleep hungry. We have enough strength in our country as of today. Our fundamentals of economy are very strong as yet. We want to preserve them. So please cooperate with the administration. Make sure that the all daily wager migrants get their food at a particular designated place. If they do not have a shelter on their heads, they know there are schools, there are stadiums, there are hospitals, there are even trains. Like other day I was giving the examples that we have army ambulances trains. Use them as isolation centers. Use them as living centers. Similarly, all trains are stranded on railway stations, and there is a news there for yesterday. In Ajmer railway station, trains have been converted for that purpose. So that's being done. So you as the responsible citizens, make sure that this information goes to the people who need it. And you also contribute, have respect for the health workers, cooperate with the police people, have respect for the supply chain vendors, and make sure that we comprehensively defeat this coronavirus and minimize the effect on our economy. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.